When you are, Chair.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order. I would first like to say that please, all commissioners, please mute your phone when you're having outside conversations. Appreciate that. Can we start with a roll call, please?
When I announce your name, if you could unmute yourself and announce that you're present. Warsaw Arton. Kate Clark.
Present.
Kara Desert or Dessert. Kara Dessert. Angela Elliott Santos. Rashid Essa.
Hello.
Oh, Angela, is that Elliott Santos?
Present. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. Okay. Rashid Essa. We thought we saw him log in.
Present.
Thank you. Eleanor Evans. Eleanor Evans. Ryan Garcia.
Present.
Bill Gore.
Present.
Shane Harris.
Present.
Taha Hussein.
Present.
Austin Jones. Austin Jones. Vince Catula. I just received a message. He's having trouble logging in. Okay. It shows that he is on the system. Unmute himself. Can you move Vince Catula up to panelist? We'll go back to, okay. Enrique Morones. Enrique Morones.
Presente. Presente.
Nicole Murray Ramirez. Nicole Vince Catula.
Present.
Ellen, the chair. The chair.
Present. Present.
Angel Ortiz. Angel Ortiz. Gina Roberts.
Present, ma'am.
Gwen Sanders. Gwen Sanders.
Present.
Summer Stephan. Kenya Taylor.
Present.
Samuel Choi.
Present.
Daphne Watson. Daphne Watson. We'll go back real quickly on a couple of the others that we didn't hear from.
Okay.
Kara Dessert. Eleanor Evans. Austin Jones. Nicole Murray Ramirez. He indicated he'd be phoning in. Do we have any other phone-in numbers? 619241. Angel Ortiz. Who's there? If you can unmute him, please. Nicole Murray Ramirez.
Present.
And Daphne Watson. Any other numbers? I have a 442. Summer Stephan, present?
Present.
Thank you. We're just confirming whether or not there may be some other members who have phoned in. That's all there is. Okay. Roll call's completed. Madam Chair, we've completed the roll call.
Great. Do we have a quorum?
Yes, we have 16 present.
Awesome. Okay, great. Well, welcome, commissioners. Thank you for attending this meeting, and we're going to expedite the meeting to be completed and end at 12 o'clock because I know you all have very, very busy schedules. So we're going to expedite this meeting to end in 2 hours by 12 o'clock. So we want to first open it up to public comment. And is there any public comment from the public?
Madam Chair, we've received no request to speak form submitted. We've just checked within the last 5 minutes to confirm none had been received.
Oh, great. Okay, great. All right. Then again, welcome. We, at our last meeting, wanted to get a little bit more of an introduction. Via COVID, we have to do introductions this way. I would prefer that we were able to do them in person. But that's not the case. So if you could, there's some variables here that are on the screen, but if you could introduce yourself by name and provide some information about yourself, including something regarding your community work, your community experience, and what you're passionate about, and a personal bit of information about yourself and any demographic information you would like to share, and just something maybe fun about yourself, just so we get to know who you are. Thank you so much. So I'm going to start. So I'm Ellen Nash, and I am a mother. I'm a wife. I have 3 grown children, and I'm a proud grandma of 3 Black boys. And I currently serve as chair of the San Diego chapter of the Black American Political Association of California. We're a 501c3. We do a lot of work around advocacy, from education to social justice, education justice, racial justice. We convene meetings every 3rd Saturday of the month. We're continuing to do it during COVID. In fact, our meetings now are primarily around forums of elected officials and candidates that are running for office. So, in fact, the 3rd Saturday of this month, or August actually, will be the Board of Supervisors, and then we'll go all the way through October up through Congress. So I'm passionate, obviously, about the community, particularly the Black community. I am very unhappy with the state of the Black community. We are overrepresented in every aspect of society, and we would like to change some of that to improve the quality of lives for Black people here in San Diego. Personal bit of information: I do serve as the associate pastor of my church. I love shopping. I love clothes. I'm depressed right now because I can't dress up because of COVID. Let's see, any demographic information about me I like to share? No, I'm actually retired after working in human resources for like 38 years. I worked in academic human resources at San Diego State University. I did 28 years there, and then I did another 5 years of human resources at UCSD Medical Center. And I am, what I would like to say, personal bit, I am a product of affirmative action. I would not have gone to college, and I certainly would not be retired today if it wasn't for affirmative action. So I'm a big proponent of affirmative action. A fun fact about myself: I'm fairly shy, really. But I love to watch TV. I love TV. I love the old school shows. I love cowboy shows. And I love singing and music and just having a great time. And I love people. That's me. Next.
Would you like to take them in alphabetical order? The next up would be.
Go next?
Would you like us to take them in alphabetical order, Madam Chair?
Yeah.
How about Kate Clark then?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Kate Clark. I am also a mother and wife. I am half Puerto Rican, which many folks remark, how could the name be Kate Clark and be half Puerto Rican? But I am, and I'm very proud of that. I grew up in the Bay Area in Northern California, have lived in San Diego for around 20 years. I am an immigration attorney, and I've dedicated my life to social justice issues impacting immigrants and asylum seekers in our region. I'm an adjunct professor at California Western School of Law, and I've taught immigration law, international law, and I work closely with the appellate advocacy program that's there. I manage a team of dedicated legal service providers and staff at JFS, in addition to our filtering work with the San Diego Rapid Response. A little bit personal fact, I have a love for the outdoors and hiking, national parks, and I'm very, very grateful to be doing this work alongside you all. So very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Kara Dessert. Ms. Dessert joined us and via phone, so we are unmuting her. If she could start speaking now.
Hi, folks. My name is Kara Desert. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'm the CEO at the San Diego LGBT Community Center. Our nonprofit is the second oldest community center in the United States. We've been providing services and advocacy here in San Diego for almost 50 years. I'm a queer Latina. I'm originally from El Centro. I moved to San Diego to go to college. I went to UCSD and began my career here in social justice. I worked for Planned Parenthood, and my first big break was running the No on 8 campaign for marriage equality here in San Diego, being the regional field director. I left San Diego to get my JD at UCLA. I got a degree specialization in public interest law and policy and another in critical race studies. Before taking the helm at the center, I worked in New York, running Immigration Equality, a national organization for LGBT immigrant rights. I'm really honored to be here and to serve with you all. In my spare time, I'm board chair of Engage San Diego. It's an organization that is a collaboration of about 12 different nonprofits here in San Diego, social justice nonprofits working to empower historically underrepresented communities in civic engagement, including elections. My wife is a teacher in South County, and that's all I got, folks. An honor to serve with you all, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next is Angela Elliott Santos.
Halka Mahanmanwaya, Nyaj Angela Elliott Santos, Nyaj Leroy Elliott Chai, Nyaj Snapatoon Kuman, Nyaj Snapatoon Kuchut. Good morning, everyone. My name is Angela Elliott Santos. I am the daughter of Leroy and Judy Elliott. I am from Manzanita Reservation, and currently I am the chairperson for the Manzanita Reservation. I have been on the tribal council at Manzanita since I was 25 years old. So I've been, I'm serving my second term as the elected tribal chairperson. I took over in 2015 after my father passed away. I was elected in his place. We do a lot of work trying to protect our culture and our heritage. We are a sovereign nation within the state of California, and we work very hard to be a good community member, and we are trying to establish relationships with all of the entities that reside within our Kumeyaay homelands. I would like to let you all know that our Kumeyaay homelands stretch far into the North County of San Diego and extend well into Mexico below Ensenada, and go all the way over to the dunes in near Algodones. So Our people lived in this land for about 12,000 years, and that has been proven by science at the Eco Substation in Hakamba. That spot was excavated for that substation, and they continued to find our artifacts 25 feet below the ground, proving that to be one of the oldest continuously inhabited sites in this country. So we fight every day for recognition of our cultural values and who we are as a people. It's difficult to face being dehumanized over and over again, and to actually be a population that no one thought would exist today. So even in our government-to-government relationships, it's difficult to deal when you are that group that no one expected to still be here today. We're proud to have inhabited this area since time immemorial, and as I said, we look forward to a better future for all, not just for ourselves, but for every person. I think if I could just say that that's one of the values that I feel my people embody is an understanding that we should not be dehumanizing our fellow people. So thank you all, and I look forward to serving on this commission with you and getting to know you all. Thank you.
Our next member would be Rashid Essa.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rashid Essa. With his time to raise the kids and also taking care of families and looking also after the community. So I'll be working the International Rescue Committee. If you are not familiar with, it's funded in 1933 by Albert Einstein in San Diego since 1975. We work very closely with many community members. When I say community members, the immigrants, refugees, local people who were raised in San Diego. Also, part of the service that we provide, which is economic development, we do also provide immigration services. We have a youth program. We do have a lot of programs here within the IRC itself, and we make sure that our work itself also goes back to the community, whatever that any programming that in our office in San Diego are on, to make sure also all this also goes back to benefit to the community that we live around. And part of the work that also we also passionate, how can we make sure that the family and also the community that we work with is very supportive, and we try to make sure that we help them as much as we can, whether it's going through loans, that sometimes they might not be able to make conventional loans for banks, but we will definitely do our service where we build their credit and also support them, and also with these loans, whether business loan, whether educational loans, and also a credit building loan as well. I am passionate to also to help, to see how can I make that any human being needs help. That's part of the human duty, to make sure that also support them and lift them up. Fun fact about me, also I love music. I like to also read, and I try also as much as I could home to be connected very well with the community, also the people that we. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to work with you, and I wish you have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Eleanor Evans. We could unmute Eleanor Evans if she phones in.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. You can hear me now. Excellent. Okay. My community work, wow. I guess I have to say that I've always been involved in community. I'm a product of San Diego. I was not born in San Diego, but I came here when my father was transferred when I was about 5 years old. Okay. In terms of community work, I guess I have to say when I was 11 years old, I joined the NAACP at St. Paul Methodist Church in San Diego, and where there was marching downtown to protest the hiring practices of the two major corporations in San Diego at that time, and both of them were utilities, or whether just being involved with other groups, including everything from the Panthers to CORE in college. I was the chairperson for the Congress of Racial Equality. And if you read in my biography, you'll see that the president of the college at that time, Dr. Love, approached me in terms of what to do about the segregation that was going on, both in the college and around the college, in terms of students being able to obtain housing, Black students being graded fairly by professors who felt that, they didn't want their students in their class. To currently, I serve as the member of the Oceanside School Board. In fact, I'm up for re-election, okay? What I'm passionate about, quality public education. Education is the foundation for democracy in this country and in almost anywhere. Without education, as a people, regardless of color, we're not going to get anywhere. It's as simple as that. With education, you learn, whether it's through your parents or whether it's through a formal school, you learn to appreciate and accept, not tolerate, but accept all people and gain an appreciation of their culture. Okay. Personal bit of information about me. Oh, wow. Okay. I used to show and breed Great Danes. I was the national chairperson for Great Dane Rescue. And up until recently, I've always had a Great Dane. In fact, I had the #1 Great Dane in the United States, and he was in a couple of movies, including Best of Shows. Wow. All right. Okay. As a person, I'm pretty much like, cream pie on a Sunday morning. It's kind of hard not to like me, and I just about like everybody. Okay. My father always says, you should like everybody, and it's not to find out why, because the onus is on you. Okay. And I've been in Oceanside for about 30 years. I love this town. Okay. And a fun fact about me, jeepers. I know it's fun, but I greatly appreciate it. When I was with the Urban League, I chaired the committee that built the Costco Shopping Center, Gateway Industrial Complex. And what most people don't know, that it's not only is it all of the buildings in Costco's quote-unquote shopping center, but also across the street and slightly south, there's a complex that I was very much involved with helping to plan and construct. Okay? And that's me. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next member is Ryan Garcia.
Hi, I just turned on my camera. Hi, my name is Ryan Garcia. I am a recent graduate of San Diego State with a bachelor's in the arts in social science with a focus on single subject teaching and a minor in poli-sci. Please do not ask to see any graduation photos because I did not take any because of COVID. So please don't ask for that. So as a college student, I wanted to go into teaching. The focus of my degree is to hopefully one day teach at middle school or high school, specifically in San Diego County. I was born and raised in San Diego. I'm from Paradise Hills, and I went to the School of Creative and Performing Arts. So during my time on my degree, when I had to do my observations, I always went back to my high school, which is a very diverse and complex high school, filled with so many talented kids. And I always enjoyed going back working there. And I even went back a couple of times after my observation hours were done. My passions lie in education and transportation. I do think that education and transportation are linked. With the way that cities have developed in the 60s and the 70s, and even today, with highways cutting through minority neighborhoods, with little to no public transportation supporting those neighborhoods to help them gain education. For example, I was just talking to some of my friends, and they live in Bonita, and I tried talking to them about, oh, have you ever tried taking public transportation to San Diego State? And they said that we would, but it's a 5-hour walk to the closest trolley station, and even then it takes another hour and a half to get to San Diego State. Mm-hmm. So as a result, because of my personal experiences and because of my time at SDSU with my poli-sci minor focusing on U.S. politics, specifically urban politics, I do think that transportation education is linked. Because if you say that you want to send these kids to college, if you want to get people to work, how are they supposed to work or get to college if they cannot get there physically? Some personal information about me. I am a Filipino American. My dad was a veteran. He served on the USS Midway, which is currently parked at the Midway Museum in downtown. My mom is a nurse from the Philippines. So she's a nurse from the Philippines. Came here during the 90s. Came here with almost her entire family, and they worked really hard to get where we're at now. Some fun facts about me. I am a Lindy Hopper. I do enjoy swing dancing. As a result, I do love jazz music, specifically Count Basie, Ella Fitzgerald, Duke Ellington.
Wow.
Very fantastic artists. I love them so much. And I'm currently going for my master's at San Diego State, specifically in history, because my degree prepared me for a teaching job in history. I want to go more into research, and hopefully during my time in grad school, I'm going to look at the history of U.S. and China relations, specifically looking at it in the East Asia context. So hopefully with my research, not only will I look at China and the U.S. specifically, but also look into other countries in East Asia like Vietnam, Korea, Japan, specifically like the Philippines. Gotta go back there as well. Thank you. I look forward to working with you all. Yeah.
Thank you. Our next member is Sheriff Bill Gore. And if everyone could remember to mute their mics in the background.
Right. Somebody's radio is on.
Good morning. My name is Bill Gore. I'm a second-generation San Diegan. Went to Crawford High School, University of San Diego. After a tour in the United States Navy, I joined the FBI, where I had a 33-year career, my last 6 years as the agent in charge of the San Diego office. In 2003, I retired and went to work for the newly elected District Attorney, Bonnie DeMonis, as her special advisor and chief of investigations. 2004, I came to the Sheriff's Department as assistant sheriff in charge of Law Enforcement Services Bureau. Did that for 2 years, 3.5 years as the undersheriff, and then in 2009, I became the sheriff of San Diego County. I serve on the boards of Alzheimer's San Diego, Second Chance, Star Pal, and was a former member of the National Conflict Resolution Center Board. Eleanor, I've got to say I've never had cream pie on a Sunday morning, but I'm going to try it this week. Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Our next member is Shane Harris.
All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Chair and the Commission. I'm Shane Harris. I have been in civil rights, and somebody can put their phones on mute. Really getting a lot of feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a lot of feedback here.
still here. It's like they're in a meeting. Hello, everyone. Please put your phone on mute. It sounds like you're in another meeting. So if you're in another meeting, please put your phone on mute because we can hear what's going on.
Okay. So I've been in the.
Or is that just?
I've been in.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Been in the civil rights space, working in civil rights and activism, as well as a little bit of politics for the last decade. Since 2010, I also am in the ministry. I was ordained at 21 years old. I'm born and raised in the county of San Diego, 13 years in the foster care system in San Diego County, lost both of my parents early on and was put into the system indefinitely. So I always like to say the county raised me. And so I was able to navigate through the ropes of gangs and drugs, growing up mostly in the southeastern San Diego community and navigating through the processes of being a juvenile that was really feeling left behind, pushed aside, rejected, and neglected. But I was able to navigate through all of that and rise to the occasion. First, I found my call to ministry at 16. I got saved, accepted God in the church, and I accepted my call to preach at 16 years old. And I used to, when I was 16, I would after Sunday service, I'd go home and hold a service in the afternoon and preach to my teddy bears. I had like 20 teddy bears, and they were in it. They were in the messages, and so that was how I learned how to speak and preach, and that was every Sunday. I do that after church, and then developing from there. Then finding, getting deeper into my calling. I was licensed at the age of 18 in the Baptist church. There's a process you have to go through, a little bit more rigorous with some seminary. I had to go through seminary classes to accomplish a license. And in the Baptist church, you have to get a license and then be ordained to preach. So I was licensed at age 18 to preach. And then 21 years old, after a 3-year process, going through some more seminary and classes with Dr. John Ringgold, the pastor of the Bethel Baptist Church of San Diego. I was ordained at 21. Founded my first church at 21, the City of Destiny Church. Was sent, Dr. Ringgold sent some of his members, and I planted this church. Pastoring at 21 years old, there was a big case that happened, Penal Code 182.5. It was where an African-American, mostly one person out of that group, but there was like 30 to 40 African-American men, mostly men, that the district attorney at the time, Bonnie Dumanis, was targeting through this penal code, where she was trying to connect them with gang crimes that had happened, and particularly a rapper that she was trying to make guilty because of his rap lyrics, to send him to prison for too long of a period of time. And I got involved in that case. I was one of the first pastors to really get involved in activism at that time. And throughout that case, as I fought it, I then found a deeper calling, my calling to be a voice for the voiceless. I think stemming from my childhood, I think being the neglected child and really navigating through the challenges of my childhood. And so I then rose to the occasion and began to lead in civil rights. It was during that time that I was contacted by Reverend Al Sharpton, the National Action Network, and for 5 years from that period of time, I worked for Reverend Al Sharpton and the National Action Network, first starting the National Action Network San Diego chapter, and then going up to state leadership in the organization. So I got the opportunity to really grow in human relations, human rights, civil rights nationally, working under the direction of Reverend Sharpton, Reverend Jesse Jackson, Representative John Lewis, and many of the Reverend C.T. Vivian. Had the opportunity to really glean from a lot of the national civil rights leaders. Still am connected with many of them today, including Reverend Sharpton. And for 5 years, I worked under the leadership of Reverend Sharpton. So I've been in civil rights, social justice, human rights for nearly half of my life. I've always been a fighter. I was fighting when I was a kid, fought against the establishment from the very beginning throughout my 8 different placements in child welfare, the neglect with the county and all of that, was able to beat the odds. And so I now am the president and founder of the People's Alliance for Justice. It's a national civil rights organization headquartered in San Diego, California. I am a member of the NAACP San Diego branch. I sit on the San Diego County Child and Family Strengthening and Advisory Board. It is the steering board of child welfare, as well as various other issues in our county of children and families. I am passionate about social equality and equity, particularly for the Black community. For far too long, African Americans have been left behind, and as Ms. Nash pointed out earlier, have been disproportionate in so many sections, and yet there has been so little done. And so I really focus on accountability work and really passionate about policy. I think that change happens through policy initiative and focus of addressing policy change. I was born to a diverse family. My mom was white. My dad was African American and Puerto Rican. And I love basketball. I played basketball at Morris High School in San Diego. I ran cross country. And I'm really passionate about sports. I love sports. I am from San Diego. I lived all over the county. From Escondido to Southeast San Diego, so I always say that I'm a child of the county. And a fun fact about myself is that I do some website designing. I am a website designer. I know by trade, I know how to design websites and build websites and all of that kind of stuff, a little bit of coding in there. So I really enjoy doing that. And I also still have my Xbox, and I still grab it every now and then and play some 2K, some NFL, some NBA. So I love to play anybody. I'd be down to beat anybody in this. But I really enjoy the work that I do across the country. In 2017, I was selected as The Root, which is a national publication. I was selected in the top 100 leaders along with various other folks, and I flew to New York to receive that award. There were various folks included in that, celebrities and stuff, and I was selected as an activist, so I was honored to be a part of that. And I've been honored with many awards, but I don't live off of accolades. I live off of my passion and my fight for the voiceless. I'm a state delegate to the California Democratic Party. And I, continue to be a part of shaping policy, initiative, and focus. So I'm really happy to be here with the Human Relations Commission. I don't want to take up too much more time, but it's good to be here, and it's good to work with this diverse team of leaders across our county and region to address human rights, civil rights, and human relations across our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next member is Taha Hassan. Taha Hassan?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I would like to start by greeting you all with the greeting of peace, saying Assalamu alaikum and peace be with you all. It's a real honor to be part of the San Diego County Human Relations Commission. Again, my name is Taha Hassan. I am originally from Algeria. So I am a North African. I was born and grew up in Algeria. I am an Arab. I speak Arabic, my first language. I speak French, my second language. And my third language is English. I migrated with my family. I migrated with my family to the United States in 2001. We lived for 3 years in Denver, Colorado, and then I received this request to lead the Islamic Center of San Diego as the Imam. By the way, Imam, I-M-A-M, is the title of the religious leader in the Muslim community in 2004. So from Denver, Colorado, I didn't think twice about moving to San Diego. So since 2004, I've been here leading the community at the Islamic Center of San Diego, which is the largest mosque in San Diego County. In addition to my daily work at the Islamic Center, and basically what the Imam does is exactly what a pastor or a minister does in a church, leading the prayers, giving the sermon, performing the Islamic marriage, doing counseling, answering religious questions, conducting funeral services, and etc. So in addition to my daily work at the Islamic Center, I am involved in the interfaith work since I came. I remember in 2005, I was a member of the Faith Leaders for Peace, a group of clergy and faith leaders standing against the war in Iraq and Afghanistan at that time. And then I joined the ICWJ Interfaith Center for Worker Justice as a board member for several years. Now I am part of the IWJ Interfaith Worker Justice. I also sit on the board of the Interfaith Shelter Network, working with the homeless population. I sit on the board of the NCRC, National Conflict Resolution Center. I am part of different interfaith coalitions around San Diego County. I'm part of the Poway Interfaith Team, known as Point. I'm part of the Pacific Beach Interfaith Coalition and El Cajon or East County Justice Coalition. The Islamic Center also is part of the SDIRC, San Diego Immigrant Rights Consortium. I'm very involved also on immigration issues, refugees, and all the minorities within our larger society. I also sit on the Interfaith Advisory Board of the District Attorney with another group of clergy and faith leaders. So this is about me. The fun fact about me is that I like soccer. From time to another, I play soccer, but I really like to watch soccer, European, the real football actually, the European one, the Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, Calcio, all that stuff. And I like traveling. Every time I have the opportunity, I just take my family. I am father of 4 daughters. I just take my family and go somewhere else in the world, enjoying God's creation. So this is about me. Again, I'm very honored to be part of this diverse team, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next member would be Vince Catula.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Vince Catula. I am a husband and father of 2 small boys, 19 months and 4 months. I operate a small business which pulls discretionary entitlements on behalf of developers. I also have active projects of my own throughout San Diego County. I'm passionate about low income and senior housing. I have a few different projects which are currently working to address low income and senior housing. I speak 4 different languages, Arabic, Chaldean, Spanish, and of course English. I am a first-generation American. My parents immigrated from Iraq in the very early 80s. My great uncle, Father Peter Catula, is the anchor of the Chaldeans in San Diego. He established St. Peter's Chaldean Catholic Church, and that we are very proud of. A little fun fact about myself, I enjoy cooking, and specifically I like to make sushi and do long pit smokes between 14 and 20 hours. My involvement in the community includes of course, St. Peter's Catholic Chaldean Diocese. I am also a member of the Building Industry Association, the East County Chamber of Commerce. Some of my volunteer work includes addressing homeless hunger. My group and I own a food truck where once a week we go downtown and feed the homeless. And I also pull permits, doesn't matter what type of permit, whether it's a health department permit or a discretionary entitlement for nonprofits. One of my more popular ones is Lions, Tigers, and Bears. It's an animal sanctuary in Alpine, and we're currently working on getting a major use permit. Very honored to be a part of this very diverse and well-rounded group, and looking forward to creating change. Thank you.
All right. All right.
Our next member is Enrique Morones.
Assalamu alaikum, buenos dias. My name is Enrique Morones. I am a native San Diegan. I went to St. Augustine High School, then the University of San Diego for my undergraduate and graduate work. And next year, I'm a fellow at Notre Dame. I'll be teaching at Notre Dame.
Wow.
I'm the founder. My dad is from Mexico City. My mom is from Culiacan, Sinaloa. I'm very proud to be 100% Mexican. I'm the founder of Border Angels, which I established in 1986, saving migrant lives. Retired in November of last year. I'm also the founder of the House of Mexico in Balboa Park. And a note of interest is the fact that there is no House of Mexico in Balboa Park, and there are no houses from Africa in Balboa Park. So I've been working on that for a long time, and we still have not succeeded. And I'm also the founder of Gente Unida, which is a coalition of 65 groups that I founded in 2005, back when I thought things couldn't get any worse, and we were confronting the administration back then, the issues about the invasion of Iraq, a news station that was promoting hate called Fox News, Minutemen vigilantes at the border that were shooting migrants. And that's what Gente Unida was formed for. It was formed to confront these issues. And in 2006, I got both Gente Unida and Border Angels to do a national caravan from San Diego to Washington, D.C., where we had 111 cars. And we went to 40 cities in 20 states during the month of February to ask the country to stand up and rise up and protest what was happening as far as immigration. And we had the biggest marches in the history of the United States that spring. We all remember, we had one here in San Diego with 100,000 people, just the one in San Diego. I'm the former, I've been on many boards. I was on the Jackie Robinson Board of Directors. I was a member of the NAACP. I was the vice president of the San Diego Padres for Latino and diversity marketing from 1995 to 2001. I also served President Barack Obama as an advisor on immigration and Mexican President Vicente Fox on U.S.-Mexico relations. I serve on the city's anti-hate coalition as we speak, and I'm also on the Trans-Border Institute at my alma mater of the University of San Diego. I'm big on words, on the meaning of words, and I've been very active on the campaign for over a decade. I'm not using the word illegal when describing people. It's inhumane, and it dehumanizes people, just like they used to use the word wops to describe Italians without papers. That type of language is unacceptable, and I'm very happy that the Washington football team has finally removed that racist name from its name. We, Gente Unida, are working on removing Rangers from the Texas Rangers baseball team name. They were a very racist group, the Rangers, that used to kill Mexicans and Native Americans. And I applaud my Native American sister, Angela Santos, in the work that they're doing to defend their burial sites along the border, confronting the Border Patrol that wants to blow up areas there and not respect the Native peoples of these lands. We're also very active now in renaming Pettis Bridge for one of our greatest heroes of all time, John Lewis. And right now we're working on continuing these efforts continuing to make sure that people use the correct terminology. I do a lot of media work. Just yesterday, I was on KFMB, and the day before on CNN. Today, I'm dealing with the Union Tribune. And I bring up the fact that words matter. I'm very upset that the San Diego Union Tribune, in describing the actions of Black Lives Matter, of which I'm a huge supporter, they talked about George Floyd as an unarmed black man. And I was livid. I said the issue has nothing to do with unarmed. It has to do with black men and women. That's what the movement's about. You need to apologize for using that terminology, Union Tribune, and we're very active on that right now. We're also very, very much involved in continuing to expose when people do use hate words, we call them on it. So I've met with all of the media, the Union Tribune, KPBS, Channel 7, 8, 10, etc. Don't waste my time with KUSI, and talk to them about using the correct terminology and to be very sensitive about these issues. I am sure I'm the only one on the commission that has debated face-to-face Tucker Carlson, Lou Dobbs, Bill O'Reilly, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Joe Arpaio, Michelle Markow, and others. And I've done these debates, and of course I get a lot of threats because of them. I have worked closely with law enforcement, my friend Bill Gore, the San Diego Police Department, for protection against hate crimes and so forth. So I have a working relationship with them. It's very important that we all stand together on these issues and that we speak out when we hear these hateful words or hateful actions. Just yesterday, we had a vigil in front of the county administration building to complain about the fact that children are kept in cages, that 6 children have died in Border Patrol custody, that asylum seekers are getting the virus like no others. Latinos are getting the virus at unprecedented rates, even greater than the African American community, and both are horrible. So we're very active on that, and we're going to be doing that this Saturday at 12 noon if anybody wants to join us. And speaking of joining us, every day at 8 o'clock in the morning, led by a young lady who's a teacher at High Tech Hygiena, we do a 5K run or walk from 8th and B downtown. We walk along Broadway, around waterfronts and back until there's justice for Breonna Taylor. Every single day. So many of you can join us. All of you can join us. You could either walk a mile or walk the 3 miles or run. I only walk about a mile. I have really bad knees. I used to be a distance runner, and I blew out my knees running. I ran Boston Marathon and all this type of stuff. So I used to be very serious about it, but I can walk a mile, so I do the miles. I also have a podcast. I have a podcast every Tuesday, and it's called Buen Hombre, Magnificent Mujer. So with Buen Hombre, we've had various individuals on. We had Antonio Villaraigosa the other day, Magnificent Mujer. We are going to have Dolores Huerta. So we have different people on to talk about various issues that affect us today. So if you're interested in that, please contact me, enrique@genteunida.net. I'm very active with Black Lives Matter. I've participated and organized several of the rallies. I'm working a lot on Black-Brown relationships. In spite of people trying to divide us, it's very important that we stay united. And it's very important that we all participate in making change in actions, not just in words. So I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged that we have this commission once again. I am going to be battling that it be a more equitable commission because it's disproportionate now. I know we'll discuss that later. But it's important that we really practice what we preach. My organization, Gente Unida, like Border Angels was, and the House of Mexico, these are nonpartisan, they're faith-based organizations. I'm single, my ex-girlfriend is a Mexican Muslim woman. So when I talk about diversity, I live it. I live it every day. And I'm glad that I'm with all of you. I know some of you, I've just met several of you, and I'm honored to be a member of this commission. There's a lot of work to do. So I hope that we can all move forward in a direction of really living in peace and exposing the white supremacy that's out there and making sure that all of us, every single one of us, and every single one of our friends votes on November 3rd. This will be the most important election in our lifetimes. Our children are watching. Gracias.
Thank you. Our next member is Nicole Murray Ramirez. We're going to be unmuting your mic.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I'm Nicole Murray Ramirez. I'm Latino. I'm a gay man, and I'm also Catholic. I've been a activist and advocate for equality and civil rights for well over half a century. I have served the last 7 mayors of San Diego, advised and served, and also advised the last 6 police chiefs, and currently chair the Sheriff's Gay Advisory Board. I'm currently the national chair of GLBT Vote 2020, and also currently the international chair of the oldest gay organization in the world, and that is the International Imperial Court System. You could describe it as the gay Shriners or Elks, except we wear crowns and gowns. And we have 70 chapters in cities within the United States, Canada, and Mexico. I also serve on the city's Human Relations Commission, where I served as chair as 4 years. I'm the associate publisher of the LGBTQ San Diego County News, and I'm a recipient of the keys to the city of Lexington, Kentucky, Salt Lake City, Portland, Oregon, and West Hollywood. And I'm really honored that I was made an honorary Texan by then Governor Ann Richards. Other than that, I'm pretty busy, as we all are, but I always have time for any of the Housewives reality shows. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next member is Angel Ortiz. Angel Ortiz, do you have audio? Okay. Mr. Ortiz, we will look to see if we can call you in. We don't see any audio on your end. You may hear us, but we cannot hear you. We'll get back to you and move on to Gina Roberts. Member Gina Roberts.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I'd like to say it's really an honor to be here with all of you. And so a little bit about me. I'm a native San Diegan. I was born in Balboa Naval Hospital. I went to Helix High School and put myself through UCSD. I live in the rural North County and Valley Center area. I'm a retired engineer. My career started at General Dynamics Convair, making Tomahawk cruise missiles and advanced cruise missiles. I also helped build the DC-10 and MD-11 fuselages and a lot of other very cool programs. After San Diego lost most of our aerospace industry, I went into commercial industry building sulfuric acid reprocessors for the semiconductor world, and traveled pretty much all over the world installing those and getting them running. It was a very interesting opportunity to see the rest of the world times. So it was kind of cool. Except I got to go to all the really, really beautiful places like Hsinchu, Taiwan, and but it was very fun. A lot of really wonderful people all over the world, and it was very pleasant to do that. I was before I moved out of San Diego City, I was somewhat busy. I actually have stayed a little bit after that. I worked in the LGBT community a little bit. I helped form a couple of transgender support groups long before I transitioned. Stepped back out of that as other things happened in my life. I'm currently married, separated with 3 wonderful kids and 3 grandkids, and a very good relationship with my spouse, who just chose not to be married to one. I'm active in, very much active in the Kiwanis Service Club. I've been in that group for 20 years, helping kids in mainly in Valley Center and all over the world. Was a very active person in the Eliminate Project, trying to eliminate neonatal tetanus around the world. It's been a very successful program working between Kiwanis and UNICEF. My local club is very active in funding anti-bullying and character education programs in the local school district. We have a fair amount of the classic school level strife between different ethnic groups, and the anti-bullying programs and the character education programs have really reduced the incidence of that strife, and of that I'm very proud of. One of the things I'm most proud of, I'm going to be the first transgender lieutenant governor in the history of Kiwanis International, starting in October of this year. I'm very active in community politics. I'm California State Republican delegate, and I'm on the County Central Committee in Assembly District 75. First transgender person in both of those opportunities. I find myself a lot of times bringing the message of the LGBT and the transgender community into very conservative areas that have not had the opportunity of meeting a person of my background or existence, and helping to change a lot of minds because of it, and at least reduce some of the strife because of it. And so I'm a total and absolute believer in the fact that all people are created equal and need to be treated as such, and that's one of the reasons I'm so honored to be involved with this. I'm compassionate to give education and the tools to people to be self-reliant economically and for their own safety. I'm a very adamant firearms instructor, trying to teach people to be their own first responders, since we often cannot rely all the time on our law enforcement people to be around when we need their help the most. I've been active in competitive shooting sports for more than 50 years, so we won't go into the age factor there. But and I've been a firearms instructor for about 40. Let me just look down my list to see if I missed anything. Oh, I have competed nationally, internationally, statewide, and in a lot of different sports, and it's taken me around the country. Currently, I am able to compete in the women's organizations, which has been a lot of fun, and has really opened a lot of hearts and minds about that in that respect. I am an advocate for the Second Amendment. Sheriff Gore has seen me way more times than he probably wants to, but I'm very pleased with the relationship that I have been able to develop with the local sheriff department and law enforcement. I'm very interested in the politics of the county because I do live in the county. I don't live in an incorporated city, so that the county represents my city council, for lack of a better word. And so it's very important that we look at how issues in the county affect the people that actually live in the county. Some fun facts. Due to my experience driving Hummer vehicles and such like, I taught military special operations people how to shoot very long distances and drive their Humvees in areas of conflict. I'm a proud parent, grandparent, thrilled that in 2 weeks I actually get to see all my kids in one place at one time. They are currently scattered across the country because honestly they couldn't continue to live in San Diego County with as expensive as it was. So anyways, I'm very happy to be here with all of you, and I can't wait to work with you, and have a great day.
Thank you. Our next member is Gwen Sanders. Gwen Sanders is unmuted.
Okay, good morning. Can everyone hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you. Good morning. I, too, like my fellow committee members, am honored to be a part of this. I hope I can live up to the task that's before us. But I will share a little bit about myself personally. I'm a native-born Californian, second generation. Along with Miss Desert, I was born in El Centro. I have lived in San Diego North County for over 40 years and have volunteered the entire time that I've been here. My passion is to try to balance somewhat between perhaps the perception have and have not, those of people of color, we as women, and those who are perceived economically disenfranchised. And because of that, I was the scholarship fundraiser for the North County Retired Military Association, where we gave out scholarships and laptops to our students of color. I also worked on the Oceanside Dr. King Scholarship Committee, again, where we wanted to address our students of color who hopefully these scholarships would have helped them follow their dream to achieve a higher education. Professionally, I worked for AT&T for almost 40 years and was a member of Communication Workers of America. During the time that I was employed by AT&T, I was the chair on the Committee of Equity, so I had an opportunity of meeting a lot of our politicians, lobbying them on issues of concern of equality for, again, those who were perceived disenfranchised, whether it's due to ethnic, gender, race, whatever reason they thought they wasn't entitled to the same fair shake. I've been recognized by various organizations for outstanding awards. I have been given the award of the Senior Volunteer of the Year. I've been given the award of the Great Seal of California back in 1994. I have sat on numerous committees. I'm the vice chair, or was the vice chair, of the president of the North County NAACP. I'm a life member of that committee. I sit on the board of our local TV channel, KOC-TV. I sit on the HR committee for the Tri-City Medical Center. I am currently on the Tri-City Medical Center Community Outreach. Those are some of the things I do in my spare time. My full-time job is to go to my dialysis treatment and to be the best mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother I can to my family. Family means everything to me. I had one of my friends describe me, so you have to kind of look over my verbiage, but I'm going to paraphrase exactly what she said. She says, friends, family, and doing what's right in the community means a lot to you. You give me the impression you'll walk through hell with gasoline underwear on if you could help someone in your community. From my perspective, she was accurate with that. Any time that I could lend a helping hand, call on me and I would do my best. That is all I have to say about myself, other than, again, I hope I can be a strong asset to this committee. Know that I will give it my all and do my best. So thank you.
Our next member is District Attorney Summer Steffen.
Hi. I think you can see me and hear me, hopefully.
We can hear you, but looks like your video is off at the moment.
Okay, I think it's coming back on. Okay. Great to be with you. I'm Summer Steffen, and I have the honor of serving as San Diego County's District Attorney. This is an incredible community that's diverse and that's very loving, very cordial. We have our disagreements, but the communities, the neighborhoods are what makes the work worth it for me. I started at the DA's office about 30 years ago, and I became a deputy district attorney because I wanted to use the law as a sword and a shield to protect the most vulnerable. The journey to do that started well before law school. It started at a very, very young age, hearing my grandmother's stories as an Armenian 9-year-old girl that was lost everything, her mother, her father, her siblings in the Armenian genocide, and somehow survived to end up as a stranger in many countries, many that took her in, including the United States. So she taught me that that things can change in any moment, and that really just the richness of your heart and your mind are the only things that can remain and can last through anything. I was going to save this for the fun fact, but since I'm talking about her, I achieved my dream on January 12th of this year, when the generosity of our Jewish neighbors asked that for a genocide memorial that they had at the Chula Vista Library, if they can include an Armenian genocide memorial. I cannot tell you what it meant to me to get this call from Sandy, whose mother was a Holocaust survivor. And so I went to work to gather all of the different historic things that very few that our family had. One photo right before, sort of, if you saw the movie The Promise, which is a great movie, a photo that was given to a cousin that was going to study in medical school that had the family picture together. So I had that at the museum and got to participate in that incredible event. Another example of how San Diego County is just so amazing and makes my regular 80-hour weeks and all of the threats to my life on a daily basis well worth it. Really, really well worth it to fight for this community. When I became a deputy district attorney, I fought and looked for the causes that were the least paid attention to. And in my time, those were sexual assault and human trafficking. So I pioneered the first sex crimes and human trafficking division in the DA's office, and it became a model for around the country. A couple of years ago, the New York Times noted that division was the real-life version of Special Victims Unit, the Olivia Benson character. And that's not a credit to me, that's the credit to the dedicated team that every day, including this morning, I ran into one of our victim advocates who went to sit with a mother and a child who have been terrorized by child molestation. So it has been an incredible journey. I got to fight alongside 5-year-olds that were shot in a playground as they played in Carlsbad, to 80-year-old who was raped and murdered in her home, and everything in between, fighting for those victims to give justice to their voice, to give them justice, to give them humanity, to give them something beyond looking like photos in an autopsy album. And somehow I rose through the ranks, and I'm not sure how it happened because I'm the least political person that I know. In fact, I don't have a party because I don't I still don't understand politics, but somehow my team wanted me to become the next district attorney, and I ran for office because I never shied away from a fight. Another fun fact about me is I graduated high school at 16 because I was bullied so badly in high school. The only chance for me to get out was to hurry up and graduate quickly, and that's what I did, and I ended up going to UC Davis. But that experience has really marked a lot of my life, which was to always fight for the underdog, to push back the bullies. A personal bit about me is I married the still love of my life. We share the same heart. He happens to be Federal Judge Dana Sobral, who was the judge that reversed the family separations and reunified 2,700 children and families whose names we know one by one, starting with the Miss L case, who was a woman who came here with her 5-year-old from the Congo and looks like the spitting image of her daughter, but yet was separated for months from her daughter. That's what started the family separation case that my husband spent a couple of years working on issuing the order. All of these, my life and his life, are not cases out there. They're very personal to us. We know the people, we know the victims, we know how much law matters to dignity and humanity, how much it matters that people do their job the right way with equity and with respect and with dignity. As DA, we've been able to do a lot of really great things, again, because of the amazing team that I have. I give them my vision and they go there, even if it's uncomfortable, even if they haven't done it before. One of the things that we're very proud of is we were the first office in the state to expunge records that were the marijuana convictions that were reversed by law. We were the first to do that, and many followed. We were the first in the state to use a law that passed in 2019 to release 2 African American males that were serving disproportionate sentences of life for non-violent crimes. We were the first to have a hate crimes online form to make sure that hate crimes are punished. We tripled our hate crime convictions, and watched this week as a pretty dramatic hate crimes case is going to be filed. And we also created the first student safety task force that allows for reports for abuses that are related to school. Anyway, I look forward to working with all of you. We have 3 children that we love very deeply. We're coming up on 34 years of marriage, and I'm honored to serve the community and to serve alongside you to make human rights a priority in San Diego County.
Thank you. Our next speaker is, we're going to go back to Angel Ortiz. We think we have the connection now, so he can speak. Angel Ortiz.
Hi, good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you. If everybody else could mute themselves, so Mr. Ortiz can be heard.
Yeah, okay. Hi, good morning, actually. My name is Angel Ortiz. I'm 22 years old, and I'm a youth development case manager at our county Lifeline. My role here is, as a case manager with the Strive for Success program, as well as a gang prevention mentor. Some of the things that I do here is, help the youth that are coming out of juvenile hall and that are on probation, at-risk youth, that need mentoring services. I need completion of community service hours, different like groups, whether it be like anger management groups, seeking safety groups, groups on like alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, helping them complete those so they can have them ready for court, or go back to school, if they were expelled for any reason. Something else that I'm a part of as under my working is the North County San Diego Gang Committee. So I've been a part of that since like I think since January. Other than that, like I just started working like at North County Lifeline in November of last year. But a little bit about myself. I'm Ixtec. I come from Oaxaca. I was born in Oaxaca. My parents, I came over with my parents at the age of 2. I spent like my whole life in San Diego. I grew up in the Barrio Crown Heights neighborhood in Oceanside, and up to like almost like 4 years ago when I left for college. I studied at the University of California, Santa Cruz. I graduated from there last year in 2019 with a double major in politics and legal studies. It was something that was really prideful for myself and for my neighborhood because I became the first homeboy to graduate. From a 4-year university. Outside of that, like when it comes to like my education, something that I'm really passionate about was like my focus like in school. And there I wrote my senior like exit essay, my research project on the social and economic forms of oppression on poor communities of color due to mass incarceration. And the prison industrial complex, focusing on like the school to prison pipeline, juvenile incarceration, the incarceration of underground America, and the incarceration and deportation of the underground the undocumented community. So those are some of the things I carry with myself when it comes to like my educational background. Some things that I was also involved when it comes with that is like political activism. Up in like the region of like Santa Cruz, I became a part of like the AFSCME 3299 workers strike. And I stood in solidarity with the African American and Black Student Union sit-in at UC Santa Cruz, advocating, for the recognition, of the community, as well as like the LGBTQ community, the women community. Advocating for like DACA and to free Palestine as well. So just standing in solidarity with all the different groups. Outside of that, like just something more personal about myself is like I'm a poet, a mentor. Consider myself to be like one of the big homies in the neighborhood, and also an educator. One thing that I take pride in is like me, myself, and a group of like the guys that grew up in the neighborhood, that were formerly involved in like the gangs, and we kind of like grew out of that, a couple years ago. We kind of just started a group to like give back to like our community during COVID, during like when COVID first started. We all like raised like money from our pockets, to be able to do like every other weekend, to be able to like give a lunch for like the families, whether it was like a pizza, there's like a birria plate with like rice and beans, tamales, or just like different things, to help like feed our community, not only for like the people in our community, but like the rest of the community, like in Oceanside as well. We kind of like prioritize it for like our neighborhood, like Crown Heights. We welcomed anyone, that was in need or, that wanted something to eat. So, that's something, that we take pride in, starting a little something to give back, to our community, and to show the youth, that they have like, have people to count on, people who were like in their footsteps, before, but, are doing like, are trying to give back and, trying to show them a better way. But Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you. Our next member is Kenya Taylor.
Good morning. My name's Kenya Taylor, and I'm a resident in the unincorporated part of town. I live in Rancho, San Diego. I'm a fourth-generation San Diegan. Initially, my family moved from Florida on my grandfather's side after being told if he didn't leave, the entire family would be killed. So my family packed up. Some moved out to Calexico, and others moved to San Diego, and they were ranchers. My grandfather on my mom's side, he was known as the Black Cowboy. Outdoors is something that I love to be in. And also it incorporates my interest in working in our rural communities. I could tell you a little bit more about myself. My family was very active in the civil rights movement here in town. I was in a family where people were involved in the Black Federation in San Diego, the US organization. Fighting for yourself as well as others was essential. But also, there was the faith-based background of raised in a Baptist family. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you was very important. But also, loving thy neighbor as thyself was important as well. And growing up, I saw that there were so many inconsistencies with what I was taught and what was going on in society. And as we're moving into 401 years, still seeing that these inconsistencies continue to happen. I was raised in the Oak Park community. Growing up, I was an honor student. In the 3rd grade, I was enrolled in those 8 gifted classes. Normally, I was the only, if not one of the only Black students in my class. It was hard because at times I had to stand up for what I believed in, even when it wasn't popular. But I'm a firm believer, stand for something or fall for anything. I moved to the East County in the 80s. I'm a proud graduate of Valhalla High School. I actually have twins who graduated from Valhalla High School as well. I was involved in human relations at Valhalla. I was treasurer of ASB at Valhalla as well on homecoming court. Growing up in San Diego, living in Rancho, San Diego, was a tremendous culture shock initially. But what I noticed as a strength was that I was able to work in diverse communities and get things done. I went to Howard University right after leaving Valhalla, which is a historically Black college or university, in Washington, D.C. I have an undergraduate degree in sociology, emphasizing social problems, and a master's in counseling. At the time, they called it marriage and family child counseling, but now it's known as marriage and family therapy. So I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. Being empathetic is very important to me. I decided to get in the field after growing up having a friend who was removed from her home and placed in the foster care system. So at the age of 9, I knew I wanted to go into a helping profession. And what I kept noticing was that Black children were treated so different than others, not to mention growing up in the classes that I was in, whether it was the GATE honors, AP classes, being the only Black normally in the classes, people kept asking me, how come the rest of them can't be like you? Now, I was also the same one that when in the 3rd grade, I was asked who discovered America. I said, how can somebody discover America when somebody was already there? I believe in critical thinking, challenging things. And so with that, it was important for me in my career to continue to gain knowledge. I have a certification in primary care behavioral health. I also have done a lot of work creating intergenerational programs and a certification in geriatric mental health. I've worked with our seniors, our veterans, students transitioning, working with our migrant families. Most of my professional career has been in our rural communities and primary care settings and in schools. I've been very successful working with cross-functional teams and multidisciplinary teams to increase best practices to address health disparities or figuring out ways so we're not traumatizing students even more. I've seen so much trauma over the years, people in pain, people repeatedly being traumatized, whether they're immigrants, refugees, Black community members, our LGBTQ plus brothers and sisters, our Jewish friends, our Muslim community members, people who've been traumatized behind people thinking they were not good enough or less than. This is something that is very important to me, and it's led to me having over 100,000 hours of volunteerism just to make sure that we have justice for all. Because I'm a firm believer, I can't just talk about it, I have to be about it. I also believe that it's important that as a mother of Black sons, we have justice in our communities. Unfortunately, I've had to have police or sheriffs out my house, outside my home, until my friends left. I had a son who got into a car accident and was disrespected by law enforcement. And he was hit by somebody and did nothing wrong. I'm also the same one that has friends that are in law enforcement, and they're my biggest support. I want to see justice. I want to see things fair and equitable. I don't believe in settling for crumbs. I believe in creating atmospheres or environments that are safe for people, that are just, and that are inclusive and celebrate diversity. I don't believe people have to lose their culture. I believe in acculturation versus assimilation. I also believe it's important that we have laws and budgets that reflect this. I recently was a candidate for San Diego County Board of Supervisors in District 2. And we received 45,037 votes. We were only 4% behind, which is amazing for a first-time candidate with such an important office. And our campaign will determine who the next supervisor will be in District 2. But I say that because I ran after seeing the continuous systemic racism and institutional racism that exists. I've been funded through county programs for decades. I've also been, a lot of times, the only Black person at the table. I've been the BAPAC chair a decade ago. I was president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated on a local president, a national level, regional level. I've worked in a number of Black settings, fighting for justice for all. It seems like we're taking one step forward, 2 steps back, repeatedly. As I fight for everybody else, it's important for me to fight for myself so I have more energy to fight for you. I fought for rights. I've attended prayer vigils for our Black trans community. Currently, I'm a part of the NAACP. I serve on the executive committee. I'm the past health chair, and I work on our prayer vigil committee, where we'll have an interfaith event soon, next month, actually, on the second Saturday. I also serve as the membership chair for BWILD, the Black Women's Institute of Leadership Development. I've been the community outreach director for the Central San Diego Black Chamber of Commerce. I've been on the Lupus Foundation's board as a very staunch advocate to decrease disparities in healthcare. As a mother of twins, I know what it's like to say there's a problem with a pregnancy and be turned away 3 times. And I also know what it's like to be that mother that had premature babies that were 1.8 pounds and 1.10 pounds because the healthcare system failed me. There's been a number of issues like this that continuously happen. And when we talk about institutional racism, systemic racism, Black people are always having higher numbers, and it needs to stop. As a mother of Black sons, I want to make sure that my Black sons come home at night, and I'll continue to fight. So I'm honored to be a part of this committee, work with our allies, work with our staff to make sure that everybody in the county is safe, make sure that everybody gets the dignity and respect that we deserve, but also create best practices so everybody can improve the quality of our lives. Thank you, and I look forward to learning more about each of you and working with our team.
Thank you. Our next member is Samuel Choi.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Samuel Choi. I'm a proud father of 3, and I'm a member of a local Christian church here in Claremont, where I live. And so it's definitely, as many of people have shared, as a person of faith, that's what drives me to this work. I believe I'm called to be a peacemaker, and a peacemaker not just, seeking absence of conflict, but full flourishing for our community. I was born in Hong Kong, raised in Boston, and transplanted here to San Diego about 6 years ago. And I now am the Assistant Director for the 21st Century China Center at UC San Diego School of Global Policy and Strategy, where I help increase understanding on what's going on in China and also improve U.S.-China relations. So as we think about human relations, definitely have that framework of also thinking about, as diverse as our county is, all of the folks that represent various cultures and languages, is also an opportunity for us to be better bridge builders across borders and to really see our county as a place that we could actually build harmonious and constructive relationships with other countries. And also understanding the importance of international students as well that make up the fabric of our county, and also being a driver to our innovation economy. And the direct connection to this work is really driven by the work at the San Diego Asian and Pacific Islander Coalition, which was born right at the pandemic, where we've experienced as a community of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders a surge in hate incidents. So it's now been documented across the country that there has been thousands of incidents of hate, with that's verbal abuse to physical violence to online bullying. And we've seen dozens of that here in San Diego as well. And so over 50 organizations serving Asian Americans have since stepped up and released a joint statement to denounce hate incidents against Asians. And hundreds and others have also signed on since. And we have passed a resolution in the city, have really raised the awareness about what's going on. And to the point that Enrique made earlier, words are important, and we've seen words being used like Chinese virus and Kung flu at our highest office in our land, and it's something that affects people locally. And we've seen that spike in hate incidents when those terms are used. And so I really want to bring that experience from Asian Americans to build intersectional relationships with other ethnic organizations and communities, to really see this as a moment for Asian Americans to step up and to really build that solidarity with folks, especially in African American community, as we've seen in the past, where Asians have felt and experienced discrimination, whether that's Japanese internment or rise of hate crimes during 80s and 90s. Those are always moments where Asians have been galvanized to work across our ethnic lines and work across racial lines to build coalitions. Another area that I'm passionate about is immigration. As a RISE San Diego Fellow, I helped start the Welcoming San Diego initiative, which was launched a couple of years ago. It's a region-wide strategic plan that brought together community members, business leaders, government leaders, academia, social service providers to really think about how do we become a more welcoming region for immigrants and refugees? How can we make sure that they have ladders of success? How do we make sure that they are included in decision-making bodies like this and other commissions and other decision-making places around the county? And so I really am really optimistic about working with so many of you here and across the county to make sure our county is a welcoming region for everybody. I also sit on the board for Alliance San Diego, which is a civic engagement organization that empowers diverse people and organizations to engage more effectively in the civic process and to really build a more inclusive democracy. We just live in such unsettling times right now, you know, between the pandemic and the protests, and I really feel like the way that we can really come out of this together is to unite and to really build a more cohesive and resilient community. And one thing that I think a lot of us miss, and I definitely miss, is sports, you know, in this time of lockdown. So I'm really looking forward to the NBA starting again, and just the not just the spectator part of it, but really the unity of sports that can bring people together. And just to use that analogy further as I conclude is, I feel like as a people, as a community, especially those who have worked in immigrant rights, those who worked in racial justice, it's been tiring. It's been really exhausting trying to play defense these last few years with the rise of white supremacy, with the rise in hate crimes and incidents across our land. And obviously in recent weeks and months, just the reminder of how unjust our systems are still for Black people, and how we're still fighting these fights that have been around for so many generations. So I just look forward to actually playing offense together, to really think and put some points on the board for our people, to really see this commission as an opportunity for us to think big, to dream big, and to see how we can actually build a cohesive and resilient county together. So I'm looking forward to working with everybody. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next member is Daphne Watson.
Well, it's a privilege to be with everybody here. And one of the things that's interesting, if your last name is Watson, you usually are probably the last person to speak. So I've had the privilege of listening to all of you. And all of you have come from some very illustrious backgrounds, some real unique experiences. And many of them are shared by me, because I was born and raised in New York and come from a very social justice family. And when there was 8 children, and when my parents were young, they died, and we were either going to go to foster care or raise ourselves. And we had a risk-taking social worker who decided to allow us to raise our own selves. And the age range was 2 to 18. And I'm straight in the middle of it all. So we got to learn how systems impact you. We also got to learn about the ravages of racism and social injustice and all the things that we knew was targeted against people of color, and particularly African Americans as we were, because we were the only African Americans in our own, the whole town. We lived in a small town, and we were the only African American family in the whole town. So growing up there was very difficult because racism was rampant, and being called all kind of names was the everyday occurrence, not just no exception to that. But because my parents instilled in all their children the desire to help people and social justice, my family just gravitated to that. My brother was actually became a member of the Black Panther Party and was a leader in New York. And we always fought for the justice that everybody should have. Unfortunately, he became such a target, and actually targeted by the police, that he was almost killed about 3 times. And the last time, because really the younger children we were really relying on him being the oldest, to really keep our family together. In the middle of the night, we just all of a sudden left and went to Connecticut. And we had to leave in the darkness of the night, hiding in cars, and the caravan did all the way up to Connecticut. Didn't know anybody, but we were knew that we would be safer there. So I grew up and I got married, had children, 3 kids in Connecticut, and then got to San Diego in 1989 after getting divorced. And my family, we still were involved in whatever social issues and that social change that was necessary. And I went to San Diego State, got my social work degree, gravitated to child welfare. I was a director of foster care agency for San Diego Youth Services. I provided homeless services to the youth on runaway and homeless youth. I also was a part of the Escondido Police Department roundtable, community roundtable, where we would discuss issues related to the police and the impact on the community, and we learned about police procedures, on and on and on. And it was eye-opening, but it was clear that there was such a distinct vacuum or a major gap between the community and the way law enforcement saw their role, that in order for it to be some real bridging, there needed to be much more greater outreach, much more greater conversation, much more reinventing of how law enforcement was done and then its impact on the community. I also took a job at Donovan State Prison, and I was I had 2 major roles there. I would head up the Board of Prison Terms commission hearings for people who committed murder and were up for parole. And I would get to meet the individuals, the commissioners. I would have to interview the inmate, and also got to interview the inmate, the victims of the inmate. And I got to see a whole different side of, there are people who commit serious crimes and harm people, and innocent people get hurt. And there is certainly a place that needs to address this behavior, and that is prisons, that is jails. So there's a role there that needs to be played. But I also got to realize that the system itself does not support and assist people to do better, because it's really designed just to contain people and not really rehabilitate. Especially back in those days when I was there, rehabilitation wasn't a word they even used in the prison system. It was containment. And when I was doing a Board of Prison Terms hearing, I was in a room with some of the officers, and they were just talking amongst themselves, and I heard one of them say, well, I gave that inmate a spanking. And what he was talking about, they had just come from a cell extraction, from taking this inmate out of his cell, and they gave this guy a beating in the process. And they thought that they were really jazzed up about it. And I was saying, how do you figure that that's humane? How is that working? What is that about? And that you get excitement by that. That to me was just stunning, because that spoke to the attitudes going on all over the place. I also worked in with South Bay Community Services. I was the director of the foster care, the domestic violence response team, and got to see close up what individuals do to other individuals, people in relationship with each other, people that are supposed to love one another, the violence that they can extract on each other. So it speaks to how people's individual behaviors really can get to really a dark place. We, in Chula Vista, me only covered the Chula Vista South Bay area, we used to get 100 calls, domestic violence calls a month. And we served some very serious cases, people almost getting killed, and the trauma on the children as well. So it really became another eye-opening about the human spirit and how sometimes it's not always the good side of the human spirit that we see. In addition to that, I am now the Executive Director of Mental Health America. I've been here for over 8 years now. And mental health is a passion because it crosses all ethnicities, groups, genders, people are impacted by mental illness. And also mental illness, and I need to make this statement, should not be a death sentence. It really is something that should be understood better. People should get the support and assistance they need. We need to get them the help they need. We need to engage them in a different manner so that we can make sure that we get a more healthy outcome, not a deadly one. I also am passionate about how we can reimagine sometimes how our systems right now are geared for old kind of perspectives and approaches, that we need to reimagine them for what it needs to be for our future and our time that is now. Black Lives Matter really highlights and opened up our eyes about, or took the bandage off all the ills that's been out there. And San Diego certainly has its share in that as well. We all have to be willing to reimagine how things are and make it better. We shouldn't be willing just to only keep it the way it has always been. Because how it always has been hasn't always been to the benefit of people, and especially people of color, especially African American males, especially Native Americans, especially Latino Americans. I don't want my son to end up being a victim of the police. I don't want him to be in fear of being able to walk down the street. I don't want my great-grandson, who is only 5, to really understand that you have to have that talk about how you should behave if you ever encounter a police officer. I don't want to have those kind of conversations. I want them all to grow and live in a world that honors them as the people that they are and for the contributions they provide. So I'm happy to be here on this commission. I'm on a bunch of commissions for behavioral health services, and from adult services, youth services, older adult services. My passion is how to help people. I ran a program called Breaking Down Barriers, and we served the Native American community, Latino community, African American community, African immigrant, and its diversity of communities, a whole gamut of folks. And the common theme is that people wanted to do better but didn't know how, and didn't have access to the tools that can help them get better. And I think it's our responsibility if we're in this helping field to really help them have those tools and make them available and make them real for those people. I know social services, and when I was in school, I learned certainly that if you went on the welfare, you went to go get welfare services. There were services for black folks, and there was a file for the white folks. If you're a black person, you got certain services, and if you're a white person, you got a different form of services. And how those services administered to you was very different. But see, that only came out because somebody working behind the scenes expressed that it shouldn't be the way it is, because that's the practice that was going on for many, many years. And it wasn't here in San Diego, it was out west, but I bet San Diego or communities around this country was no different. That there was always a set of different services for people of color, and some for only those who, and special services for those who weren't. I think we have to do better. We have to reimagine how things should be. We have to work hard to make sure that that is a reality. We have to be not afraid to look at the truth of the matter and say how we need to make the change. So I look forward to working with every one of you. I know that we can together, collectively, make the change that we all hope and desire. Thank you.
Madam Chair, that concludes all of the commission members from speaking.
Those were, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, great. Those were awesome introductions. It was well worth the time to hear your backgrounds. We do have an incredibly diverse commission here, and I'm definitely looking forward to working with all of you as well. In the interest of time, our commitment is till noon. We are going to, if it's okay with everyone, we're going to dispense with the agenda and move everything that we were going to talk about on the agenda to the August 11th meeting in the interest of time. It's been 2 hours, 2 wonderful hours, and we do have some very important items that we need to discuss, particularly the budget summary as well as the Brown Act presentation. All the other items on the agenda actually are very important. So I'm going to ask if we could move the remaining items on the agenda to the August 11th meeting.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
Gina Roberts, or ma'am as the case might be. But anyways, I'd like to move that we skip to the agenda to the making the meeting, deciding about the meeting schedule, and that we consider continuing the twice a month meeting format until the end of the year. I noticed that way we can kind of plan our schedules a little bit more in advance instead of at some point in time they changed to one a month, and I'd like to see us keep it at 2 times a month until we can get everything kicked off and running.
Okay.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay. Do I have a second? Is there a second?
Madam Chair, this is Stephanie Watson. I second the motion.
Great. Any questions in regards to the motion? Okay, let's move to the roll call.
Madam Chair, before we go to the roll call, we should indicate what those meetings are. Currently, what was proposed on the agenda was August 11th, August 25th, September 8th, October 6th, November 3rd, and December 1. If we were to add 2 meetings in September, October, November, and December, the Tuesdays that do not conflict with board meetings would be as follows. The additional dates would be September 22nd, October 20th, November 10th, or the 24th, but the 24th I would note is Thanksgiving week, and December 15th. So if the maker of the motion and the second are looking at those as the secondary dates, if they could incorporate that into their motion.
I would incorporate those dates into the...
And for clarity, November 10th or November 24th?
The 10th will be fine.
Okay. So then the motion is the second of the motion agreeable to that?
I am, but I want to ask one clarifying question. If we don't need those meetings, will we have the opportunity to say we can suspend them?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Well, then I second that. Yeah.
Right.
with the motion in a second, Madam Chair, I can call the roll call vote, and I'll try to be as quick as possible.
Thank you.
Kate Clark, if you could make yes or no.
Yes.
Kara Desert. Kara Desert. She's a 10. Angela Elliott Santos. Kara is number 10. What?
Can I ask a question or comment?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's Eleanor Evans. The date is November 3rd. That's Election Day.
In the morning, yes. Yes, the meeting would be in the morning.
That's still, polls open, what, at 7 or 8? I really think everyone should be given the opportunity to vote, even members of this committee, especially members of this committee. I don't think we should have a meeting on that day.
Any other comments in regards to the November 3rd date?
I agree. This is Nicole Marie Ramirez.
Yeah, this is Daphne Watson. I didn't recognize that, yes, November 3rd is the election day. I would ask that we move it to another day or skip it.
Okay, how about I modify the motion to have the first November meeting as the 10th of November and the second November meeting as the 24th.
This is 24th.
Is that amenable to, this would be a substitute motion so that the dates would be as previously stated, except November's would be November 10 and 24. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that with the change.
And who was that? Who made that motion?
Eleanor Evans.
Okay. So we'll need to do a roll call on that vote. I'll start again with Kate Clark.
Yes.
Kara Desert.
Yes.
Angela Elliott Santos. Rashid Essa.
Yes.
Eleanor Evans.
Yes.
Ryan Garcia.
Yes.
Sheriff Bill Gold.
Yes.
Shane Harris. Taha Hussein.
Yes.
Vince Catula.
Yes.
Enrique Morones.
Yes.
Nicole Murray Ramirez.
Yes.
Ellen Nash.
Yes.
Angel Ortiz.
Yes.
Gina Roberts.
Yes, ma'am.
Gwen Sanders.
Yes.
District Attorney Summer Stephan.
Yes.
Kenya Taylor.
Yes.
Samuel Troy.
Yes.
Zephine Watson.
Yes.
Angela Elliott Santos. Shane Harris. Motion carries with a unanimous vote with 4 members absent from the vote, which is 18 yeses.
Great. Great. Okay, great. Motion carries then. All right. Let's see. We're going to we're going to move everything else on the agenda to the August 11th meeting. And the idea of having our meetings twice a month, I think we will find that we will have these standing meetings twice a month all the way up through the end of the year because of all of the issues that we're facing in the county. So I would expect that the twice a month meetings, I don't expect that any of them will be suspended at all. So please make sure you have all those dates on your calendar. Claudia, can you send out a schedule?
Absolutely. We'll send those out to you to get them on everybody's calendars.
All right. Great.
And Madam Chair, when you're ready to adjourn, you're able to do so.
Okay. All right. Well, I am certainly ready to adjourn. Thank you all for thank you all for sharing your wonderful stories, and we'll see each other again August 7th. Have a great day, and let's get into some good trouble. Thank you.
I like your attitude.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good day.